Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Fabiana Requena, a senior here at USF and the Honors College.
And I'm Riva Gandhi, also a senior here at USF Honors.
We want to welcome you to our second episode of Made to Share, a Judy Genshaft Honors College Food and Culture Studio series. It's a show that was built on the belief that food is a way we connect with one another and bring people together.
We're recording today in the Leona Genshaft Food and Culture Studio at the University of South Florida. It's a beautiful teaching kitchen designed around the idea that learning should extend beyond the classroom.
Today's guest is a perfect example of how creativity and innovation fuel sustainability in urban environments. In 2010, Emmanuel Roux helped transform vacant lots at a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center in St. Petersburg into an urban farm to provide fresh, nutrient-dense food for the community.
15th Street Farms is now an urban oasis at the heart of downtown St. Pete, a place where residents come to reconnect with nature, share meals, and experience food that is grown with intention. The organization is partnered with USF's Center for the Advancement of Food Security and Healthy Communities to help educate students and the community about how food is grown and how the environment affects food.
As a nonprofit, revenue from dinners, farm tours, and cooking classes fund programs for the community. It's a living example of how food can be a vehicle for healing and connection.
So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Emmanuel Roux, co-founder of 15th Street Farms.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a privilege. I have many relationships with USF, with a number, with Dr. Mattingly, Dr. Brechot, we started 15th Street Farm, which is in the country the only urban farm that has also an event space. We are primarily an educational farm. So we help people reconnect with nature, understand where their food comes from beyond the supermarket, and what happens after they swallow it. And so the whole system. And we help people expand their taste bud horizons and also what really good food is about. And we define good food as, first, it has to taste good. Second, it has to be nutrient dense. And third, it has to be economically and environmentally sustainable.
So all of this delicious food smells are making us hungry. What are we making today?
So I'm French, but my parents lived in Tunisia, and I was raised between Tunisia and France. And therefore, Mediterranean cooking is those are the childhood memories. And so I use a lot of garlic, olive oil, and those are the main staples. So we have tomatoes, which are tomatoes Provençal, and on the tomato, I put breadcrumbs, olive oil, garlic, and parsley, salt and pepper, no other spices. You can put some thyme if you want to, and they are put in the oven.
So a concept that we're implementing here is the idea of sharing the plates and really sitting at a long table with one another. You do this a lot at 15th Street Farms. Can you tell us a little bit about the concept of farm to table and what it means to eat at a long table with one another?
So food through every culture is bringing people together, whether it is for a birth, a disease, a wedding. There is all kinds of celebration, and food is always the central part of it. And also, we are what we eat. Therefore, if I'm sitting across from you and that I eat a piece of chicken, I am going to be what you could have been and vice versa, or the other way around. Anyway, you get the picture. Uh, and that is the essence of communion. And that goes back to hundreds of thousands of years ago when fire was discovered, and where people were sitting around an antelope that was roasting and that created social bonds and interaction and social interaction. So the cultural aspect of food is very, very important. In every culture, in America, it hasn't been that much. So what we're trying to do is to have everybody sit at a long table and pass a dish from one to the other.
So, what are you doing to make local produce more accessible in St. Petersburg?
In Tampa Bay, we spend between 10 and 12 billion dollars a year on food. After the port, it is the largest economic impact. We produce a tenth of a percent of the food that is consumed locally within the boundaries of the area. So we need to change that for a question of resilience, for a question of health, education, and economic development.
So, what exactly are you doing? I know you host dinner tables. You have lots of events down at the farms,
Farm tastings.
right? And it sounds
lots
so
of,
cool. And
yeah.
we would love to go down there one day. But how do you see that really impacting the St. Petersburg community and also the youth of Tampa Bay?
Well,
Well, what do you
Whoa.
look at that?
This is our broth for our soup.
So it's made with all of these vegetables that you see right up in here. And we've boiled it down over the last hour, and it's made this really concentrated broth that's nutrient dense and filled with all of the necessary vitamins and minerals that you need.
And
to
it's
live a healthy
really
life.
using a lot of, while we were prepping, it's using a lot of the vegetables. So every single part goes to use here in a broth like this. Really, nothing is going to waste.
right. So Tampa Bay, according to the USDA, and Dr. Himmelgreen and I were in New Orleans when we were talking to at a conference to people from the USDA, and they told us that Tampa Bay was one of the last large markets in the country that did not have an organized local food system, which is ridiculous because we can grow a lot of food, as you know, in Manatee County, Hillsborough County. We are sometimes the capital of strawberries, and so we can grow a lot. Now, all those products are feeding the global food system, which means that they go to Canada, they go to California, Tennessee, wherever. Little is consumed locally. And the farmers are monocrop farmers, so they focus on one particular crop. And if something happens, they are in deep trouble. So by having a more diverse, by helping the farmers diversify their productions, they could become more resilient, and we as consumers would become more resilient. So I'm not by any means advocating replacing the global system by the local food system, because it's impossible. There are too many people. However, if we can get out of those $10 billion, just 2%, that's $200 million that would stay in the community instead of going to Ecuador, Canada, California, and everywhere else. So the economic impact, we need to speak, and I think that this is USF could help convince local authorities who don't have no idea, to educate them and show them. And those young people need to participate and advocate for the building of local food system just for resilience.
Yes, that's why we love to host programs like this, especially at the Honors College. Would you mind walking us through the broth? And I think we can start serving so that
Yes.
our guests can actually try the vegetable broth.
So in the South, there is a long tradition of cooking collards. And there was something that was called the pot liquor. And the pot liquor is the water in which the collards were cooked. And it was full of nutrients. And because the nutrients leach in the water, therefore it is very, drinking the broth or the pot liquor is very nutritious. And also because it is in a liquid form, it is absorbed by the body very easily. And when you're sick, this is this drinking a broth. So in the broth, there is the liquid in the water that we cooked, a little salt, onions, garlic, and all the other, I didn't put any moringa, but I put some purslane. So it is going to be, it should be pretty flavorful.
So we read a little bit about the initiatives that you have, like the USF feature of Food Think Tank. You explore food's role in preventing chronic disease. Where do you see universities making the biggest impact in things like food access and public health? And what are your hopes for the future?
Well, I think the objective number one, and there is a business plan that has been that is being produced, or to me, the most important thing is the development of a local food system, and that is something that is going to take 15 or 20 years to build, which is going to encourage farmers to train farmers, to train urban farmers, and organize distribution systems that are parallel to the existing. The other thing is that Dr. Brechot and I have been discussing for the last 5 years is the creation of a farm on campus. USF is one of the few universities that does not have a farm on campus. And the way I wrote a proposal, and I envision when I drive around the campus, I see a lot of vacant space. Half an acre here, 5,000 square feet there, that will never be developed. And there's some scraggy lawns. Why not turn that into productive organic agriculture and production? Because then an engineering student would see where their food comes from, and there would be a cross-pollination. So I think that the farm should have a food center, a food research center attached to it, and have what we're doing today should happen every day. And in the evening, there could be parties and and a 2 acre food, maybe have a place, a brewery attached to it.
Oh.
Anyway, there's a lot of possibilities. Education, I think, is really important, and I think you know a thing or two about it.
Very well said. I think it's can be really inspiring to attend events like this and be surrounded by urban environments that are bringing that creativity, that innovation into the space to make sustainable initiatives possible.
There is a lot of work that needs to be done, and that in order to develop that concept of local food system, it has to be a transdisciplinary approach or interdisciplinary approach, which is, I think, what's of the objective of what you're preaching.
Absolutely. That's our favorite word here at the Honors College. So, as we get ready to dive into the food, we have one final question for you, and that's because the name of this program is Made to Share. What's one piece of advice you'd like to share with our student audience today?
Come and visit the farm. No, I think that look at food, food has been transformed into a commodity. You go to the gas station, you fill up. You go to a restaurant, you fill up. Food is much more than all that. It has implications of health, education, connection, grounding. Do you know who are our most, the greatest category of volunteers that we have at the farm?
Students?
No,
Oh.
tech people.
Really?
Because they sit in front of a screen all day long. Total artificial world. They need grounding. They come to us because it's very empowering to weed. You get to play God. You decide who lives and who dies. It's very satisfying.
I think that's great advice. I think we should definitely go down to St. Petersburg and visit you. But on that note, let's eat.
Let's eat.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Lyceum, for all of your help.